grandchildren around anymore. Beverly, always warm and outgoing, had a tendency to overshare. She would casually discuss her medical appointments in detail, joke about her adult son's teenage mishaps, and even reference private family financial matters over dinner. While she thought she was being open and honest, her family began to feel increasingly uncomfortable. The turning point came when her eldest daughter gently said, "Mom, I love you, but sometimes it feels like there's no filter." That remark, though hard to hear, was a wake-up call. Beverly didn't realize that her well-meaning candor was coming off as invasive or even disrespectful. She took the feedback to heart and began practicing more discretion in her conversations. Her efforts didn't go unnoticed. Her family began visiting more frequently, and the warmth she'd missed began to return. This kind of turnaround is possible for anyone willing to reflect and make small, intentional changes. The first step is developing what experts call a pause buffer. Before sharing something personal, pause and ask yourself, is this information truly necessary? Could it make someone uncomfortable? If the answer is yes, consider redirecting the conversation to something lighter or more universally relatable. The second step is to invite honest feedback from those closest to you. Say something like, "I'm trying to be more mindful about what I share. If I ever go too far, will you gently tell me?" This builds a safe space for correction and deepens trust. And third, begin journaling your thoughts privately. Sometimes the urge to share deeply is rooted in a need to feel seen and understood. Writing down your thoughts can be both therapeutic and a healthy way to process emotions without putting undue pressure on others. These small practices can rebuild bridges that over-disclosure may have damaged. Habit 5, resisting new ideas and changes in the world around you can also lead to unintentional social isolation. It's natural to feel skeptical about new trends or technologies, especially when they seem unnecessary or confusing. But when that skepticism turns into outright resistance or judgment, it can alienate younger family members and friends. Sociologists call this generational rigidity, and while it may not stem from malice, it often gets misinterpreted as stubbornness or arrogance. For example, refusing to learn how to use a smartphone, scoffing at modern music, or dismissing new values around identity and inclusion might seem harmless to you, but to others, these reactions suggest a refusal to engage with the world they live in. Over time, this makes it harder for them to connect with you, because the gap keeps widening. Take George, 75, who refused to use video calls even during the pandemic. He insisted on landlines and criticized his grandkids for their screen time. But when his daughter moved to another state and his grandson began posting online updates instead of calling, George started to feel left out. Eventually, with some nudging, he agreed to take a basic smartphone class at the local community center. It changed everything. He began texting his grandchildren, reacting to their photos, and even joined a group chat with his family. Instead of being left behind, he became a part of their lives again. The lesson? Willingness to adapt isn't just about learning new tools. It's a powerful act of love and relevance. Staying open to change doesn't mean giving up your values. It means showing others you're willing to meet them halfway. To develop this openness, try what researchers call empathetic exposure. Set a goal to engage with something new each week, not to love it, but simply to understand it. Watch a trending show your grandkids talk about. Ask someone younger to explain a meme, an app, or a movement you don't quite get. You don't have to agree. Just listen. Second, replace the phrase "in my day" with "tell me more about your experience." This small language shift signals interest rather than dismissal. And third, reflect each night on something you learned, even if it challenged your worldview. Over time, these small acts of curiosity can open doors that lead to richer, more meaningful relationships. Habit 6, perhaps the most sensitive of all, is failing to express genuine gratitude and emotional warmth. As people age, especially after enduring personal losses or health challenges, it's common to develop emotional numbness or reserve. But to those around you, especially family, this emotional distance can feel like indifference or rejection. People need to feel appreciated, and while you may feel deep love and gratitude if it's not expressed, it's not felt. Harvard's Center for Aging and Relationships conducted a longitudinal study showing that perceived lack of warmth or emotional engagement from aging parents or grandparents was one of the top reasons adult children pulled away. It wasn't due to time constraints or busyness. It was because they stopped feeling emotionally important. Consider Ruth, 84, a widowed matriarch who rarely said "thank you" or "I love you" aloud. She had grown up in a household where emotions were private, not spoken. Her children, while dutiful and respectful, often felt unseen. Her turning point came after reading a simple letter from her granddaughter that ended with, "I just wish you'd say more often that you love us too." That note shook her. She began making a habit of expressing gratitude during phone calls, writing brief but heartfelt notes and saying, "I appreciate you" whenever someone did something kind. In just a few months, her relationships deepened. Her kids called more. Her grandkids stopped by more often. Ruth didn't change who she was. She just became more intentional about letting her love be known. To shift this habit in your own life, start by identifying one person each day and express one specific appreciation to them. It can be small, "I really enjoy our conversations," or "you always make me laugh." Second, write down 3 things you're grateful for each night, especially focusing on people, not just things. Lastly, practice verbal warmth in your everyday language. Use names, offer hugs, make eye contact. Say thank you often and mean it. Emotional warmth doesn't cost you anything, but its absence costs you everything. If you've made it this far, I want to sincerely thank you for taking the time to reflect on these habits. The truth is, aging is not a decline. It's an evolution. But it does require awareness, humility, and courage. By facing these hidden behaviors and making small but powerful shifts, you can restore closeness with those you love and strengthen the bonds that matter most. If this message resonated with you, please comment with the number 1 so I know you're still with me. Let's help each other age not just gracefully, but meaningfully. Habit 4. Oversharing and ignoring social cues. When Beverly's grandkids came over for their usual weekend visits, she didn't realize she had slowly fallen into a pattern, oversharing, and often crossing boundaries without meaning to. Casual conversations. She'd dive into graphic descriptions of her digestive issues, recount medical treatments in vivid detail, or reflect openly on private experiences from her marriage. To her, these were harmless reflections, but to her listeners, they were uncomfortable, awkward even. The final straw came during her granddaughter's 8th birthday party. Beverly launched into a detailed story about her recent colonoscopy, complete with commentary on the prep process. The table fell silent, shifting uncomfortably. Later, her daughter quietly showed her a string of family group texts, each one expressing discomfort and a growing reluctance to invite Beverly to future gatherings. Beverly was devastated. She had no idea her conversational habits had slowly drifted into territory others found hard to tolerate. To prevent this from happening to you, or to reverse it, begin practicing the pause and filter technique. Step 1. Use the 2-second rule. Before sharing anything personal, especially about health, finances, or relationships, pause for 2 full seconds. Ask yourself, would I be okay hearing this level of detail from someone else? That moment of reflection can help you decide what's appropriate for the setting. Step 2. Read the room. Are people suddenly checking their phones? Are they exchanging glances or trying to change the subject? These are subtle but clear signals that your topic may have gone too far. Steer the conversation back toward neutral or inclusive territory. Step 3. Build a mental safe sharing list. Mentally sort topics into 2 categories. One for generally safe content, like fond memories, interesting news, or thoughtful questions, and another for things that require discretion, like health issues, personal drama, or intense opinions. This helps you quickly self-check in real time. Ask yourself honestly, if a loved one gently pointed out that your stories were making others uncomfortable, wouldn't you want the opportunity to change? Taking these steps now ensures your connections. Stay warm, not strained. If you're still watching and finding this valuable, comment the number 2 below so I know you're here with me. Thank you for spending your time here. Habit 5. Resisting technology and refusing to adapt. This next behavior reflects more than a personal preference. It reveals a deeper reluctance to evolve. And that reluctance doesn't just frustrate those around you. It slowly severs connections, especially with younger family members. Maybe you've said things like, "I don't mess with computers," or "You'll never catch me using one of those smartphones." At first, these lines may feel like declarations of identity or values, but in reality, they act as invisible walls, barriers that isolate you from the world and the people who matter most. This isn't just theory. It's backed by research. A study by MIT's Age Lab, led by Dr. Samantha Wilson, found that older adults who were at least somewhat open to texting, video chats, or email experienced a 73% increase in emotional closeness with younger relatives compared to those who refused to adapt. Think of Walter, a 75-year-old retired mechanic. He swore by his landline and refused to engage with anything digital. His grandchildren initially made an effort, calling, checking in, but over time, the calls grew infrequent and eventually stopped. When Walter's daughter gently told him that his refusal to adapt was creating distance, he became defensive. "They should accept me the way I am." He saw it as self-respect, but to his grandkids it felt like indifference. His 16-year-old granddaughter later confided, "We gave up because it seemed like Grandpa didn't think we were worth the effort. We weren't asking for much, just a text now and then." Here's the hopeful part. You can break this habit today. Start with just 5 minutes. Choose one useful tech tool, like texting or video calling, that can reconnect you with your loved ones. Commit to 3 5-minute practice sessions a day. Don't aim for perfection. just consistency. Open a messaging app, send a short text, or try starting a video call. Be vulnerable. Let your family know. I'm learning this because I want to stay connected with you. I might need your help along the way. That honesty and effort can be incredibly moving and bridge the gap. What's truly holding you back from sending that first message? Maybe today's the day you find out. Habit 6. Volume control and spatial awareness. This final habit may be the hardest to bring up, but it matters more than you think, especially in public settings. It's about losing awareness of how loudly you're speaking or how close you're standing to others. What may feel like a minor quirk can become a real source of discomfort or even embarrassment. Maybe you're the person who speaks too loudly in a quiet cafe. Or perhaps you stand a bit too close in line, unaware of others' subtle cues. This isn't just about etiquette. It often stems from real physical changes. Experts at the National Institute on Aging, including audiologists like Dr. Jonathan Parker, explain that by age 70, most people experience high-frequency hearing loss. This can cause people to unknowingly raise their voices by 15 to 30% above a comfortable social volume. The result? You can't hear yourself accurately, and you miss subtle social cues. It creates an awkward loop. Others feel uncomfortable, but you remain unaware until someone finally says something. Consider Evelyn, a 77-year-old retired librarian. She cherished manners and gentle conversation, but she couldn't understand why her son's family had stopped inviting her to dinner outings. The turning point came during a birthday meal at a cozy Italian bistro. Her grandson recorded her, loudly retelling a story. The footage captured nearby diners shifting away, glancing nervously, visibly uncomfortable. Later, when her son showed her the video in private, Evelyn's hand flew to her face. "I had no idea," she whispered, eyes filled with tears. She'd always prided herself on her composure. But her hearing loss had turned her into an unintentional loudspeaker. Here's how you can gently take back control. Download a free decibel meter app or ask a family member to help. Practice speaking within a social range of 50 to 60 decibels. Create a subtle signal with your loved ones. A light touch on the arm or a whispered cue can let you know when your volume is creeping up without public embarrassment. Schedule a hearing test. This week, not someday, not next month. The longer you wait, the more the problem grows, and the harder it becomes to adapt. So here's the challenge. Are you ready to ask someone close to you if this is something you do? Their answer might sting a little, but it could also be the moment that protects your next family gathering from silent embarrassment. In summary, 6 habits that quietly push loved ones away from telling the same stories or oversharing to resisting technology and speaking too loudly. These habits are more common than we like to admit, but they don't have to define your relationships. Take Harold, who was once estranged from his family due to a combination of these behaviors. In just 3 weeks, he began practicing these steps, pausing before sharing, learning to text, adjusting his speaking volume. His relationships didn't just improve, they were rebuilt. So, what stood out to you most? I'd love to hear. Leave a comment below with the insight that resonated most with you and how you plan to use it. If this video helped, give it a thumbs up, Subscribe for more insights that make a real difference, and share it with someone who might need this. Message today: your relationships matter. Don't wait. Take the first step today.